Greetings again. I hope you are indeed remain well. I've been talking about prayer the last weeks, and it does strike me today that perhaps prayer is truly a good way to find some help in these turbulent and times of illness. Expanding our prayer life, both in how we do it and when we do it, I think can offer us a way of centering ourselves in Christ, and then from that place we can see and feel the life-giving presence of the Holy. Deepening our prayer life by spending time intentionally with God opens us to the sure knowledge that the God who is love is real and a part of our universe. How God is involved, we indeed probably don't know, but that God is involved brings comfort and hope. One of the strangest and at times the most powerful way of praying is praying without words. The ideas we have talked about in the last weeks all have involved using words, talking with God, praising God, asking God. At times we have listened for God to respond, but we have expected that to be in words that we could understand. But relationship exists also without words. There is a communication, a deep connection that happens when we are with others in silence. I imagine you, like me, have had experiences of times with intimate friends or lovers when you were together silently, without words. And indeed, these times were the occasions often when you were most together. And I believe we can have that sort of relationship with God also. This form of prayer goes by different names, and there are subtle differences among those who practice it. In the Western world, it's called contemplative prayer, and in the Eastern world, meditation. The works of Basil Pennington and Father Keating, who were monks in the Colorado Mountains, brought it to our area, and they call it centering prayer. The name, though, is not really that important, and the nuances of how it is done are not as significant as giving it a try and developing your own way. Basically, the process is simple, but the practice is very difficult. One begins by finding a comfortable position, usually closing your eyes and relaxing your body. When centered, you consciously invite God's presence and clear your mind of all thoughts, feelings, sensations. Using a word or phrase to occupy your mind, people who pray this way allow all the thoughts that arise to just flow gently away. When you realize that you've latched on to an idea, you repeat your word and return to emptiness. By the way, everyone has lots of thoughts that jump all around inside of them. So don't condemn yourself, but just gently return to your word. Time passes, maybe slowly, maybe quickly, probably unknowingly. Just as when you sit with the one you love, watching the day end, wrapped in each other's arms, just being together. Just being. No words, no particular thoughts, no emotions, just being. And when something happens that brings you back to the real world, you find that you have been away, have been blessed, have just been. The same is true with our time with God in this matter. Usually there are no earth-shaking revelations, and indeed, if they are, you're instructed to just let them go. If they're important, they will return later on. There's also no sense of anything happening. But those who practice this sort of prayer maintain that it brings a stability, freedom, and restfulness to the rest of their day. Without it, the stresses of life overwhelm. So for those of you who are interested, I'd like to try praying this way and guide you through the beginning. A picture will appear on the screen when we begin. Most people engage in silence for 10 to 20 minutes and use an alarm to relieve the fear of being there too long or too short. We will only be silent a few minutes before the video ends. You may want to turn it off and continue your silence. So before we begin, choose a name for God and a word or two that reflects your intention to be with God. I use the phrase, "Come, Lord." Keep this word with you throughout your prayer. Indeed, it is your only word. So now let us begin. Find a comfortable seated position. Become aware of your breathing, in and out, in and out. Relax your body, beginning with your head and moving all the way down to your toes. And become again aware of your breath. When you feel centered, repeat your word, inviting God to be present with you now. When thoughts arise, let them go as leaves flowing down a stream. And when you realize you have latched onto a thought, repeat your word and continue. Amen.